Hey everybody, my name's TSW and in this video I'll be covering the boss Gara'jal the Spiritbinder in normal mode 10-man Mogu'shan Vaults raid. So this boss is still in beta. This guy's only been out for like a day, I think. So yeah, don't read too much into these abilities, and if something seems overpowered or really stupid, then obviously it can change. But generally speaking, the core mechanics and abilities are probably going to stay the same, but again, you know, they still could change, so again, do not read too much into this. But yeah, once more, this is Gara'jal the Spiritbinder. So this is a really interesting fight. I do enjoy it quite a lot, partly because it's kind of overtuned at the moment, which actually made me feel a bit more at home struggling against the boss versus just walking over it as if it was, you know, a normal mode entry-level boss. So that was fun. So yeah, let's start with some of his abilities and go through how to ultimately overcome this shaman boss. Yeah, he's got like lightning spells and totems. Yeah, he's a shaman. Okay, so he's got spirit totems. These will be dropped by the boss periodically through the fight. They do despawn on their own, however you can kill them, and obviously you do want to kill them because when they are killed or despawn, they will take the 3 closest party members to the spirit world. So there's the real world, which we're in now, and we also have the spirit world where there are some ads and all the fun stuff basically happens in the spirit world. But speaking for the real world, I'm now attacking the boss. I now have a debuff called Voodoo Doll. What this Voodoo Doll debuff does is the damage that I take is then duplicated amongst 2 other party members who also have the Voodoo Doll debuff. In this case, it's our DPS warrior and our healing priest. So when I'm taking damage, it is duplicated and spread amongst 2 of our party members. This is quite a lot of damage. So I'm using things like shield wall, shield block, all this sort of stuff. So I'm taking less damage. So in turn, our party members are taking less damage. So after a minute's worth of Voodoo Doll, I then get ported into the spirit world. I then have a Sever of Soul, which needs to be killed in order for me to get back to the real world. It doesn't have too much HP, so I am able to kill the shadowy minions before I kill my Sever of Soul to get back to the real world. The 3 people who are teleported into the spirit world basically need to prioritize the minions, because the minions not only attack them in the spirit world, but also they attack us in the real world. It's a really cool mechanic how the ads are able to, you know, you just need to balance your DPS between the real world to ultimately kill the boss, and also the spirit world to get the minions down, so you don't need all this raid healing in the real world. And that's really cool. So let's talk about the rest of the party members getting teleported to the spirit world. You see the totem in the top, in the left hand side of the screen. You want to have 1 healer and 2 DPS pretty much sat on the totem, so you can guarantee that those players are going through the spirit world. You need to then kill the totem, and boom, that 1 healer and 2 DPS have gone into the spirit world. Why do you need a healer? The damage doesn't seem too great, true, but when you do go through the spirit world, you do go down to 30% HP, and there is a really cool mechanic called Spiritual Innovation, which means that when you are healed by a big heal, you will get a buff proportional to that heal. So Lay on Hands is great. You want to be popping wings and stuff just so you kill these ads quickly, because it does pay off to kill all of these ads, one-shot all the minions in the spirit world, because that will mean there's no raid healing except for the Voodoo Doll in the real world. So once all the ads are dead and you have been healed, you can then push your extra button in order to get back to the real world. You can only use the button if you do get healed, so you have to have a healer or else you'll die. Whenever anybody, including the tanks with the Voodoo Doll debuff, go into the spirit world, you will have a debuff which will last 30 seconds. If that debuff reaches 0, you will die. And you will see an example of me dying, I think, in this attempt. But basically, yeah, do as much damage as you can to these minions. It's well worth using your cooldowns here. At least it probably will be. We hit the enraged timer, so you could read into that we need more damage on the boss, but it is in the beta, and I just imagine that the boss has a really, you know, short enraged timer or lots and lots of HP, which is perhaps not what's going to happen. So I don't kill the Sever of Soul, therefore I die, because my 30-second debuff runs out. And that's the 30-second debuff. and then we hit the Hardened Rage. So I'm just going to cover a few more points, and that's basically Gara'jal the Spiritbinder. But yeah, let's read into a little bit more. So I'm just going to go over the fight once more, talking about abilities that I didn't talk about, because there are still abilities, and also speaking about how I, as a warrior tank, chose to fulfill my role, as well as anything else that goes on, and a bit more about the cycle of going through to the spirit world and coming back, etc. So we do start off with our Death Knight tanking. He's going to be using his cooldowns so he doesn't take as much damage, because he now has the Voodoo Doll debuff, as does our Shadow Priest, as does our Mage. So we don't want our Shadow Priest or our Mage to die, believe it or not. So they're getting healed. We've just had 3 people kill the Spirit Totem. They've gone into the Spirit World. We have our healer, being our Priest. We have a DPS Warrior and a DPS Shaman. So they're now going to be healed for big heals from our Priest, and they're going to be given buffs, which means that they do more damage. They are also going to be given a debuff, which lasts 60 seconds, which means they cannot re-enter the Spirit World. If they do, they will die, okay? So that's very important. So if you go into the Spirit World, you cannot go in with the next totem to the Spirit World again. You have to go in every other, or else you'll have the debuff and you'll die. So our DK tank has been ported because he's had the Voodoo Duff for about a minute. He's been ported to the Spirit World, therefore I am now tanking. The boss, well, okay, it's the beta, so we don't quite know exactly what's happening, but basically the Death Knight could taunt the boss. I could not taunt the boss. If the boss is tauntable on live or in later releases on the beta, yes, obviously have a tank swap when the tank gets the voodoo buff, but I think that it's the boss is meant to be not tauntable, or else what's the point of the voodoo thing? But yeah, so heal through the voodoo doll debuff on the players. Again, it's on our DPS warrior and our healing priest. So I'm going to be using shield block all the time, dodge trinkets, that sort of thing. It's really, really good. Druids and Death Knights may struggle if they're taking more damage than the other tanks, but generally speaking, it'll be fine on normal mode at least. So I've had the voodoo debuff. I've now been ported. We have almost all of the ads killed. I mean, what's going on? It's as if this group knows what they're doing. It's as if they've seen this video. What's going on? Anyway, I've got the Sever of Souls to kill. I need to kill that in order for myself to port into the real world again. For the people who get ported by the totem, they just need to be healed. They'll have an extra action button down at the bottom center of their screen, and they just click that, and they'll be fine. You do have a 30-second debuff when you are in this shadow realm, spirit world. And when that does reach 0, you will die unless you're the tank and you've killed your Sever of Souls, or if you're one of the 3 people going in with the Spirit Totem, you need to click your action button, assuming you've been healed. You will not have the button unless you are healed. Therefore, you need a healer. So again, there's a Spirit Totem about to go down. 3 people who do not have the 1-minute debuff from recently going into the Spirit World will go through. And we just carry on in the real world, killing our boss, Gara'jal, using our cooldowns when we have our Voodoo Doll debuff. Voodoo Doll debuff is basically on the entire time in the live realm when you have a tank tanking it. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, like dodge gear is great. It's really nice, just pop a dodge trinket whenever anyone goes low. And what I was doing was basically just saving shield wall. And if I saw anyone in our group who had the Voodoo Doll debuff, go half HP and weren't getting healed or whatever, like, I probably should have used it then when our priest dies. But as you can see, the Voodoo Doll debuff does jump onto somebody else. It's now on our druid. So that was a kind of fell on my part because I was taking too much damage. Or, well, the priest wasn't healed for one. But anyway, that's an argument for another day. But yeah, our priest is rezzed. You can see the Voodoo Doll does jump onto somebody else, so you can't get rid of it that way. Although I'd presume that Bop might work from Paladin. I'm not quite sure. We didn't have a Paladin to test out, so I can neither confirm nor deny. Okay, so I've had the Voodoo Doll debuff for about a minute. I'm going to get ported out to the Spirit World. I'm going to have a 30-second debuff. Let me stress the 30-second debuff because that's how I die on this attempt. Sorry, but that Sever of Souls is below 20%. in my defense, and I should be able to one-shot him with an execute. But yeah, I'm popping my Bloodbath and Dragon Roar, killing these ads, doing as much damage as we can, because we have quite a lot of ads at this stage. So I need to, I'm like, shit, we need to kill these ads, and then I die because I can't execute the mob. Yeah, but basically you want to kill all the ads, like all the ads, because you just take extra damage when you're in the real world. And when you're on the real world, it's not nice when, say, I don't know, your squishy warlock or whatever has the voodoo doll debuff, and they're taking damage, and they're getting hit by 3 mobs simultaneously from the spirit world. That's not good. Anyway, that has been my video for Gara'jal the Spiritbinder in Mogi'shan Vaults, the normal mode 10-man raid, which is 25-man as well. Don't let me mislead you, because it is the beta and everything's kind of new. I've been TSW, thank you very much for watching. If you do like this video, thumbs it up. If you do want to subscribe to my channel, you can click the subscribe button. I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. This video is part of the Way movement, a career path in video sponsored by TGN. To learn more, visit tgn.tv.